You don't know what this is about? Seriously? How am I the only one paying attention to this damn case? I'm obsessed with this case. It's crazy to me that someone else would not know this case. I'm so obsessed with it. This damn case. I'm so obsessed with it. Obsessed with this case. It's crazy to me that someone else would not know this case. I'm so obsessed with it. Are people really unfamiliar with the Karen Reed case? People really unfamiliar with the Karen Reed case. Wait, this case is PMO? Why is it pissing you off? PMO? What part is pissing you off? PMO? Why is it pissing you off? What part is pissing you off? Never heard of it. What are you all talking about? This is the most fascinating trial case of the year. What are you all talking about? This is the most fascinating trial case of the year. This is as interesting and as intriguing as the Amber Heard trial. You all should just be glued, and as intriguing as the Amber Heard trial. You all should just be glued to this and nothing else starting next Tuesday. How am I in the just be glued to this and this bubble? I don't read news, just Irish news. I mean, technically this is in Massachusetts. It's Irish news. I mean, FTP, investigative discovery content, is met. What does FTP mean? Catch us up. So on the right hand is Karen Reed. Karen Reed is, I think she's a divorcee, who was dating a Massachusetts cop by the name of John O'Keefe. And on the night of, I want to say it was January 28th, or maybe January 29th, or maybe like 2 years ago. And on the night of, I want to 28th, or maybe like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, she drove John to, I think it's 28 or 24 or 22 Fairview Avenue in Canton, Massachusetts. 28 or 20 Massachusetts. And she drove her boyfriend John to the house to drop him off. And she arrived at the house. She indicated she didn't want to go into the house. And she basically told John to go in by herself. At 12:21, that's pretty much where the prosecutor's theory of the case splits from the defense's. Prior to 12:21, what we do know is that they were drinking. Splits from the defense's. Is that they were drinking, meaning Karen and John were drinking in the local pub with a whole bunch of John's cop friends. That though, or not even cop friends, and Brian Albert owned the house at Fairview Avenue, and Brian Albert the house at Fairview Avenue, and Brian Albert was the one who was basically telling John O'Keefe the house at Fairview was the one who was basically telling to please come along and to come to their party. And the reason why there was a party was there was basically a game going on. Karen is on the top right-hand corner. So there had been like a kids' sports game earlier. People were pre-gaming. They all went to the bar. And then, so people were pre-gaming. And at around about sports game earlier, people were pre-gaming. They all went to the bar. And then at around about midnight, anyone else getting the Irish curse lag? Are other people getting the lag? Hang on, it's curse lag. Are other people getting the lag? Hang on a second. Is that any better? Is the lag any better if I do it like this? Hang on a second. The lag any better if I do it like this? I don't know. Is the lag any better if I do it like this? I don't know. I'll just try it like this. So basically what happened was she and her boyfriend John O'Keefe were hanging out in the bar and they were invited to a house party. She were hanging out in the bar and the house party was taking place at Fairview Avenue, which was a location that was only 6 minutes from where John and Karen lived, but it was an area where Karen specifically and John was not really very familiar with. And so what happened was Karen and John arrive at this party at 12:21. Now, if you listen to Karen's defense, at 12:21, she saw John go into the house and she told John, "Go into the house and see if I'm even welcome to join." Into the house and see if I'm even welcome to join. And John didn't come back out. And so Karen angrily sent text message and voice messages to John saying, "You're a piece of shit for not bringing." And so Karen angrily to John saying, "You're a piece of me back for not coming back out to get me and leaving me in the car." And at around about 12:25, 12:30, Karen claims that she left the house and she drove 6 to 7 minutes back to John's house. Now, what we do know, would have left at around about 12:30. And these minutes really start to matter. That 6-minute drive, however, would have been in ideal conditions. But that night, Karen was drunk. Not only was Karen drunk, would have been in ideal situation. Not only was Karen drunk, it was snowing. And not only was Karen drunk and it was snowing, she was in a neighborhood she didn't know. So her getting home, not only was Karen drunk and it was snowing, she was in a neighborhood she didn't know. So her getting home in that 6 minutes, when that's the ideal timing, is probably ambitious, but doable. In that 6 minutes, timing is probably doing it any faster than that would be a little bit unlikely. Timing is probably ambitious, but doable. Doing it any faster than that would be a little bit unlikely. So Karen says that at 12:21 she arrived. John got out of the Lexus SUV and John walked. 21 she arrived. John got out of the Lexus SUV and John walked up to the house, knocked on the door, and John went in and John never came back out again. And Karen took it as a personal affront. Up to the house, knocked on the door, and Karen took it as a personal affront and thought that John was being an asshole and never came back out again. And Karen took it as a personal affront and thought that John was being an asshole and drove home. Karen then woke up at 5 a.m. and John was not in bed next to her. And when Karen realized that John was not in bed next to her, she freaked out. And she called one of the women at the house. One of the women there was called Jen McCabe. One of the women there was called Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe just screams, "Massachusetts Karen." And she calls Jen McCabe and says, John, I don't know where John is right now. I'm freaking out. He must be hurt. He didn't come home. And she basically asked Jen McCabe to wake up and help Karen try to find John O'Keefe. And John O'Keefe's body was found right beside the flagpole, and it had some really unusual injuries. John O'Keefe had absolutely no damage to his body, literally no damage from the armpits down, no contusions, no bruises, no signs of blunt trauma. The only harm, the only damage, the only injuries he had was his arm was extraordinarily cut up. Just very, very cut up. The glitch is that bad. Well, then very, very cut up. The glitch, I'm just going to end the live because I'm not dealing with the glitch. Good night, everyone. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Because I'm not dealing with the glitch. Good night, good night, good night, good night.